Okay, today we're going to talk about changing the starter on my 2010 Jeep Wrangler. Let's get started. I'll show you what the symptoms are, if I can duplicate them. Okay, when this thing's cold and you go to start it, you can hear the starter hang up on it. So don't know if you can hear it on here, but let's see. It didn't do that, and it doesn't do it every single time. It is an intermitting problem. It is a lot worse when it's really cold outside. So I'm going to go ahead and change it. Hopefully that'll solve the problem. I had a very similar problem in my F-150, so it's kind of crazy. All right, so let's get started. All right, one of the very first things you want to do is unhook the negative terminal from your battery. You don't want to create any spark or welding effect when you're working on all these wires. Yeah. So, getting underneath here. Okay, I believe the starter is right here. This looks like it is on the, actually the driver's side, the opposite side of the battery. And if you take a look right here, it's got a couple of push nuts on there, or push washers. We've got to get this heat shield off of it, so let me see what I'm going to do there. I'm going to use a flathead screwdriver and pry this little lock washer off of it. And once you pry it up a little bit, you can rip it off with some needle nose pliers like I did there. And there is another little snap right here, so I'm going to, what I think I'm going to do is get a screwdriver and try to open it up like this. Okay, this is some kind of metal zip tie. It's just something I had to cut, so we'll see if we can pull that out. There we go. I think I have another metal zip tie. Okay, this thing should start to come out. Let's see here. Okay, something very interesting. So, this starter is the original starter. I am the original owner of this. I've had this for 15 years. This starter has never been out of it. And it looks like it's missing a bolt. It has a bolt right here. There's a spot for a bolt right here. I verified that on the new one. And then there's a bolt up on the top. So this thing, I think, should have 3 bolts on it. But it's only got 2. Not sure why that is. I'll have to do some research. So I'm going to spray some penetrant oil on here and go ahead and get my ratchets ready. Now, to get that top bolt, I use a real long extension. It goes all the way back here, as you can see, because I didn't want to have to drop. You can drop the drive shaft down and it'd be a lot easier, but I didn't do that. Okay. Okay, there's your top bolt. Note, the top bolt is the small one. Bottom bolt is the long one. Now, I'm going to try to slide this back so I can get this heat shield off, because it won't go all the way back. So it looks like I may have to pull the starter out, slide the heat shield off, and then get through the wires. Okay, with the starter being loose, it looks like I will be able to pull this heat shield off and get to these little bolts and tabs right here. Okay, the main power wire is a 13mm nut right here. Then you've got a little plug right here that we've just got to pull off. Hopefully it'll come off easy. You do have to press in this little piece right here, and then it will slide off like that. And it will fit through that hole. It's just very tight. Woo! Okay, here are the connections. Good idea to clean them while you are down here. And of note, where the starter bolted right here, there's actually a shim that fell out right here. So we'll be sure to put that back. Okay, quick comparison with the new one. It looks the same. The only thing is that, let's see, it feels about the same weight. I got this from Rock Auto, WAI, don't know what that is. It is a brand new one. It is not remanufactured. I do have some steel zip ties, as you saw earlier, so I can put that heat shield back on with some new push nuts. Make sure you put that heat shield back on, because I'm sure that will be the demise of your new starter. Now, the problem with this starter, you did not hear it in the video because it's intermittent, is this piece right here, the little Bendix, or this stays stuck in the starting position. So right when you start it, it makes a really bad rattling noise because this thing sticks up. I've had this happen to a lot of starters in the day, so this should take care of it. Another thing, as you saw earlier, this thing has 3 bolt holes, but only 2 bolts. And I did look online, and a lot of people are saying the same thing. So I guess good old Chrysler decided to save some money and only put 2 instead of 3 bolts. And it came with this nice little starter characteristics test report. Not sure what any of that means, but oh well, we'll go ahead and put this in. And as I said earlier, clean your connections. Okay, so I have the shim back installed. This is your shim here. You can see your flywheel. You might want to inspect your teeth on your flywheel if you suspect any issue there. So got this lined up. We've got our connections clean right here, so we will commence to put the starter back in. We are going to have to go up right through here. Okay, we've got our electrical connections back on. Got it semi-bolted in. Well, it's just barely threaded there. So before I tighten it up, I'm going to try to put this heat sleeve on it. Okay, that's it. I put a new press washer on here to hold that, and I put another metal zip tie there like the factory did. So the factory actually didn't use that bolt hole. They used it for a zip tie. Not sure why, but that is a factory setup. Heat shield's all back on. Electrical connections are cleaned and buttoned up. So let's see if it'll crank. And I've got to reconnect the battery before we crank it. Okay. Okay, other than basic tools, basic hand tools, I used some of these push, they call it internal tooth star lock. They're basically push lock washers, and a stainless steel zip tie. These were mainly to hold on the heat shield, but the only other 2 things you're going to need is a 15 millimeter, a 16 millimeter socket, and a 13 millimeter socket for your solenoid there. So again, basic hand tools. It is a tight area. If you pull out the drive shaft, it makes it a little easier. I didn't do that, but if you've got some extensions and basic socket sets, you should be able to do this also. And for those of you that are interested, the original Chrysler is a Denso model made in Japan. And this one is made in China. Okay, well, hope this helps you figure out how to change your starter in your Jeep JK. This is for the 2007 models and up, probably to 2011 or 10, somewhere around there, with the 3.8 liter V6. This is probably not the same procedure if you have the 3.6 liter or any of the other powertrain options on there. So hopefully this helps. Have a great day.